Hi everybody! Today we're going to be making stuffed leaves. Well, they are stuffed leaves, but what kind of stuffed leaves, you ask? Well, firstly, they are called stuffed vine leaves or stuffed silverbeet leaves. Translated to Greek, which is the original recipe, they are called dolmades. Dolmades. Or you can just call them stuffed leaves, vine leaves. Originally they were made from vine leaves, but today we're making them with silverbeet leaves. Okay, so firstly we've got to get to know the meat. You've got to squish it up a little bit. I'm using about half a kilo of this ground beef. So just make it a bit soft. What you can do also is get your local butcher to put it through the machine twice, just to get it nice and soft there for you, which is what I've done. Then what we're going to do is, okay, so to prepare the mince, we're going to add about 1 medium-sized chopped onion. Okay, it should be finely chopped. There we go. Give it a bit of a squish. Has to get all in there and mixed up. Okay, this is going to be great, by the way. I can't wait to try these. Then we're going to add the rice, I'd say. Okay, so we've got about half a cup of rice. You don't want too much rice because when it cooks in the casserole pot, then the rice expands obviously and they're going to become very, very large. You don't want them too big. So just get right in there and squish everything up. Don't be afraid. We've also got about half a bunch of fresh parsley chopped. There we go, we're going to pour that in there. Okay. To make it a bit liquidy so we can mix it well, I've added about a tablespoon of tomato paste mixed with about half a glass of water. Pour that in. I've also got one lemon, sorry. I know. 1 lemon, freshly squeezed. Freshly squeezed. What does freshly squeezed mean? You squeezed it like today or what? I don't really get that freshly squeezed expression. I guess it means you squeezed it today. Freshly squeezed lemon. Okay, I probably shouldn't have done that because I want to open the salt and the pepper. So I should have done that first, but never mind. We'll give it a bit of a mix anyway. You can already smell that lovely smell of the fresh parsley. Okay, just put all of that back in there. Next, which is actually the secret ingredient, it's what makes it taste extra special, is spearmint or mint. Now I'm using dried mint, and that's okay to use dried mint. You don't have to use fresh mint. Okay, but the parsley is recommended to be fresh. So I'm going to get about 1 soup spoonful of mint and pour it in there. Just a bit more for good luck. Okay. A bit of olive oil, about 2 tablespoons. Pour that in there. And then we'll add your salt and pepper. Now I'm not going to really measure the salt and pepper. Just some sprinkles of pepper. And I usually just do that when it comes to the salt. Okay, there we go. Now it's time to just mix everything up. You can add more salt if you wish. I'm not going to tell people how much salt to use because that's up to you. So once you've done that and you've got it looking like they're ready to be made into beautiful dolmades or stuffed leaves, you can go ahead and start rolling them, but you need to mix them up really well first of all. Okay. So the next step to our stuffed leaves, well, our dolmades, is to wrap them in the Silverbeet or the vine leaves or whatever kind of leaves you are wrapping them in. You can also do them in cabbage leaves too, I forgot to tell you before. Okay, so what I've got here is the leaves. I've cut into the hard part and made a sort of a triangle shape there so I can get rid of that hard part. Hopefully you can see that there. So it's going to be very difficult to try and wrap them with that hard part in the middle there. So we don't need that at all. So now you can probably see the steaming water over here. I've just taken it off the stove. It's just hot water. I'm going to dip it in there first and then dip it into the cold water. Okay, so watch this. Dip, leave it for a couple of seconds, and then straight into the cold. There we go. Okay, put it here on our chopping board, and I'm going to get another one and do the same thing. Ready? Dip. 1, 2. Ow! Crap. That happens sometimes. Don't worry about that. Be a bit more careful than I am. And dip it into the cold water. So then we kind of join them up here so that the V shapes are joining each other, making a sort of a diamond shape. So what we're going to do is use some of our ready-made minced filling from before. Get a bit of a scoop with your fingers, put it in the center, a bit more I'd say. So, okay, this is, I'm actually a bit nervous about this because my mum makes these really, really well, and I used to be really upset with myself that I couldn't fold them as good as hers or make them as yummy as hers, but hopefully I've come a long way from that. So we're going to start from the edge, we're going to fold them upwards, then we're going to fold them inwards, and then roll them. Okay? There we go. They don't have to be perfect. I know that, that's me anyway. I'm usually a perfectionist, but I've learnt to not be a perfectionist when it comes to this kind of stuff because pretty much you're going to be here all day, and the point of this video channel is to show you simple and traditional foods, which is what I am doing. So I'm going to do another one, and then, yeah, I'll leave you to it until you've done all of them. Okay, dip, and dip again into the cold water. This leaf is pretty big, so if you have a big leaf, okay, like this one here, you can do a dolmade. That sounded really funny. It's hard to really say it in Greeklish. A stuffed whatever. You can make a smaller one with just one leaf if you want to. So there we go, folding it from the bottom, inwards, and rolling. Okay, put them next to each other so that they don't come undone while you are preparing. Okay, hopefully you've got that. It's not very difficult. Good luck with that, and I'll show you the next step in a sec. So after about half an hour or so, I think that's how long this took me, or 45 minutes or something, you should have a plate that looks somewhat like this. Now I know what you're thinking, this is supposed to be simple and traditional meals, but I really wanted you to have this traditional meal under your belts. I think that it is one of my favorite dishes, and I really, really love it. And I'm sure you will impress anybody that tastes these dolmades, homemade dolmades. Okay, so obviously they're not cooked yet, but we are going to prepare that now. So what we will do is I've got a couple of spare leaves that I didn't use. We're going to put them in a casserole pot. Okay, then we're going to get some olive oil and just sprinkle some in there, inside the pot. So this is going to help everything not stick, basically, when they are cooking. So just spread some like that. Okay, not too much. You can sort of get the leaf and sort of spread it around the pot there like that. And flatten the leaf again. Okay, now what we're going to do is put the dolmades in one by one. Be careful as to not help make them become undone. We're going to squish them all next to each other side by side in the pot. So I'm going to show you this later when they're finished, when I'm finished what I'm doing inside the pot. But be patient and squish them up as close as you can to each other so that they don't come undone during the cooking time. Okay, these are looking beautiful. I can't wait to try them. My favourite meal ever. Okay. I hope they turn out to be as good as my mum's. That's what I always say to myself when I make them. They never do, unfortunately. To be honest with you, you know, I have to be honest. But nobody's mum's cooking can ever be beat, I'm sure. So I'm squishing them all up together, side by side, so that they don't come undone during cooking. Okay, now there's no room. There's room for like a tiny one, but I don't have any tiny ones. Oh, here we go. Okay. Yep, that's good. Excellent. So have a look at that if you can. There we go. Should look something like that. Okay, side by side. Now what we're going to do, I've got a glass of 1 spoon of tomato paste and water, cold water. Just going to pour that in there. Okay, that's going to help it cook. Now you're going to have to watch these while they're cooking because it will suck the water up pretty quick. So if you need to, you're going to have to add some more water in during the cooking time. Now, I didn't have this plate here for no reason. This small plate is what we're going to use to actually hold them down even further. So they're sitting side by side now, but we're going to hold them down while they're cooking so that they don't become undone. So I've just put the plate in like that, okay? Just flat like that. Now we are going to pop the lid on and we are going to cook that on medium heat for about half an hour. Don't go anywhere. Stay close to the stove because you're going to want to check to see if they're not going to stick down the bottom. Don't forget to add some water if you feel like they need some more water. Okay? And now for the moment you've all been waiting for. A steaming hot pile of, you guessed it, dolmades! Yay! Okay, now, I did try one before and they taste sort of like my mum's, okay? I'm not going to say they taste exactly like hers, but I think after a few more tries, I'll be able to get there eventually. So keep trying, everybody, until you get them perfect. And I was going to tell you before that if you wanted to have them a little bit more juicier, I mean with some juice in them, so they're not so dry because the water has sucked them up, you can make a separate glass of water with tomato paste and heat it up and just pour it on top in a bowl if you like, so that they are floating in some water when you eat them, some juice, salsa. And also another tip for when you are folding them, because I did have some difficulty and I forgot to mention that before, that the pot of hot water that I had here was turning cold, so I had to put it back on the stove and heat it up and dip the leaves into it from there so so that the leaves can become soft, because it was really difficult to fold when the leaves were still sort of semi-hard. So yep, that's a tip for you there. And what else? You can enjoy them now with a glass of lovely wine. I'm just going to open them up here and show you what they look like inside. Okay, there we go. Yes, that's beautiful, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. I can smell that mint. The mint is the secret to these lovely dolmades. Great stuff. Enjoy.